Hello, hello. Hola, hola, hola. How are you today, beloveds? Welcome to another episode of A Spiritual Remedy. My name is Sunshine Day. I'm wearing my glasses today. I think I'll take those off. What's happening? What's happening? How was your weekend? Say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And let me know how your weekend was. I'll share a little bit about a spiritual remedy. A spiritual remedy came about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, yeah. And it is an effort to provide spiritual tools and loving support for your personal transformation, for your spiritual transformation, so that your life continues to grow and expand to your best life. Because I know that living our best life is absolutely important. And if we can support each other in living our best life, then wow, we have an amazing, amazing community. Good morning to you, beloved Jan. I'm so glad you're tuning in on Facebook. And I see we also have some folks tuning in on YouTube. And so you can always catch our show on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm so glad that you're here today. Yeah, so I see a world where people, and in particular clean and sober people, people in recovery, those people who are recovering from weapons of mass distraction, are living their best life and loving it. And the idea is that everyone could indeed begin to live their best life. And if we support one another in living our best life, how you doing, Nancy? Then wow, this is absolutely awesome. And when I'm talking about weapons of mass distraction, I'm talking about not only like drugs and alcohol, but I'm talking about drama, right? Isn't drama a weapon of mass distraction? I mean, aren't sometimes too our cell phones weapons of mass distraction? Sex, gambling, all of those things. And so I'm excited to hear a couple of things about how you're doing, but I also have a discussion that I want to talk about today that I think is going to light our conversation on fire. Jan, you attended a graduation, wow, a church and a friend's 90th birthday party. That's awesome. I know my beloved Sunny Day is in Sacramento. She's been celebrating our niece who is graduating today. And I mean, she has gotten all kinds of honors, all kinds of awards, and I know she's speaking at graduation. I think she's valedictorian, and she got scholarships to LMU, so she's going to be coming from Northern California to Southern California. We're so excited. So I trust that the graduation you attended this weekend, Jan, was absolutely awesome. Hey, Palma, what's up, Michelle? I love you so much. It was so good talking with you on the phone. And Nancy, this is what she texts me on a regular basis. It's going to be a great day. And yes, it is going to be a great day. And, it's going to be a great day because we intend it to be a great day, but we actually have agency on our ability to focus on what it is we want to focus on. And today, part of what I want to talk about when I talk about us living our best life and us laying down weapons of mass distraction, today I want to talk about resentments. How many of you have resentments? I know that there are still some resentments that are lingering inside of me. And I know that having these resentments keep me from living my best life. And so what do I mean when I'm talking about resentments? I'm talking about, deep-seated feelings of anger, of bitterness, of indignation towards something or someone, it typically stems from some perception of an injustice done to me, or I've been mistreated. And what I know is that holding on to resentments is emotionally and mentally draining. And the reason why, like, I remember someone saying, you have a resentment when someone doesn't have safe passage through your mind. So in other words, when you think about a particular person, if they can't like travel safely through the neighborhood of your mind, then you may have a resentment. Um, Buenos dias, Elsa. I'm so glad even our Spanish speakers are with us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, so here's the deal. Tell me about how your resentments impact you. How do your resentments impact you? Where do you feel them in your body? How do they disrupt your best life? Whether it is something deep seated or something that we think, oh, that's so petty. But when we think about that person, place, or thing, there's still some kind of like, I feel some type of way about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel some type of way about that or about them. Um, and, or we have a complaint, or we have like, oh, yeah, they're great, but. So I want to hear how that impacts you, because what I know for me is that, yeah, it impacts me because it actually becomes a weapon of mass distraction. Like, I'm thinking about what I want to say to that person, how I want to say it the next time I see them, or the situation, whether it's rising prices that I'm resenting, because I think that there's an injustice, or that I've been mistreated in a particular way. Maybe I'll never see that person again, but now I'm thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And it actually distracts me from living my best life. So I want to talk about a couple of steps that we could take in order to like overcome resentments, and it's a process that requires like self-reflection. Should I say the F word? Forgiveness. Forgiveness. And these are all proactive steps towards our own healing and towards our own, what I like to call, revealing, because it's actually a revealing, and in that revelation that we begin to really, really live our best life. Jan, thank you for contributing to the conversation today. Jan is outing herself and just saying, I did a forgiveness prayer from Emmett Fox about a resentment. Last year, I said they hurt my feelings, and for a year, I've been planning to retaliate. I thought I let it go. Isn't that funny? Not ha ha funny, but funny how, yeah, I thought I let this go, and then all of a sudden, like, something kind of creeps up from within us. And one of the things about resentments in on our healing process, and yeah, sometimes saying a forgiveness prayer is quite helpful, because at least it puts us in the mindset of, I need to let this go. This is hurting me. And what's great about it is that when we come to this realization that, especially people in 12-step community, we're taught like, you got to do a 4th-step and a 5th-step, and you got to do this forgiveness work. And when it comes from, because I have to do it, sometimes it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good that I'm doing this. It's just like, I'm doing it because I have to do it. Hey, Jason, because I have to do it. But after a bit, and for me, like, ongoing resentment, I don't like that. I don't, or I appreciate this, or I don't like that. To the degree in which I am honest with myself on a regular basis, I can really begin to talk about the things that I resent, just kind of like, I don't like spaghetti. I love spaghetti, like keeping it that simple. But I definitely want to get into just a couple of quick steps before we run out of time today is is the idea and the importance of acknowledging and accepting my feelings. Like I have to accept that, yeah, that I have a resentment, that I'm angry, that I have maybe this deep seated or maybe this light, low key resentment or something that I might be harboring or want to hide because, you know, people see me as minister or spiritual or in recovery or whatever it is I think people think about me, right? Like it doesn't matter how much time I have or sobriety I have, like that stuff does not matter. What matters and what's important for all of us, each of us, wherever it is that we are on our road of recovery, on this road of living our best life, whether we're in recovery or not, is accepting that this is how I feel and recognize that I've been harboring this resentment or that I've been feeling this type of way. And I must recognize that it's a natural response to being treated unfairly. When I think I'm being treated unfairly or when my feelings are hurt, like it's a natural response, but it's the holding on to it that is detrimental to my well-being. It's the holding on to that feeling that is detrimental to your well-being and to our happiness and to us living our best life. So the next part about that is really just kind of going like, what were the events and what were the circumstances that led me to resent this person or this thing? And, you know, why do I feel the way that I do? And trying to really gain some clarity. How has it affected me? Has it affected, you know, my finances, my personal relationships? Did it bruise my ego? And what's important in all of that is that I don't judge myself harshly or the other person harshly, but that I begin to really look at like, you know, hey, this is how I am right now. And if I want to change, I got to be able to like make, you know, like realize this. So, Alina, so glad you're with us today. Unconscious collective desire for social justice, as well as internal unconscious wondering why I'm not seemingly loved by the universe as much and as so and so, right? Like when we do comparison, how come life doesn't do me like this? How come I don't get the this or the that or the other thing, right? Like I those are resentments as well. Those are two reasons that resentments we truly have worked out end up reforming and reappearing. Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter, right? Like some of us can say, "Oh, that's so petty," or that is, you know, so little or so big. Yeah, that's a big one. Or we start saying, "Hey, that's a big one." Hey, beloved Lydia, so glad that you're with us today, right? So the idea is to just kind of recognize that, acknowledge that, and then really begin to reflect and look at what is the cause of that? What must I be believing in order to think that the universe is against me when the universe is actually for me? When I think about like, I woke up today, my body is working, all the cells in my body are working, everything is actually coming together for my good. And what is for me is for me. What is for them is for them. And as long as I'm still looking over there and going, how come they get that and they're just messed up and da 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 da, then I'm not focusing and ready to receive what life has for me, right? And so, yes, I get filled with resentments. And when I get filled with resentments, the law of resonance continues to bring me more of that because that's what I'm resonating. That's where I'm vibing from. And I continue to get more jealousy, more doubt, more fear, more hatred, more resentment. And that's not really what I want for me. But when I'm focused out there instead of being gentle with myself and recognizing that this is a natural response when I'm hurt or treated unfairly, but I cannot hold on to this. So if I practice empathy and if I try to understand where this is coming from for me, but also the other person's perspective maybe, or how things, when I have a resentment towards someone for something that they did, you know, it doesn't mean that I have to excuse their behavior. I get to just kind of see, you know, like if I hold this up, you have a different version of this than I do. And we could be arguing about what this is, but in actuality, you just have a different perspective than I do, but we're talking about the same thing. And when I let go of my desire to be right and just go, oh yeah, is it possible? Is it possible? And by engaging in that kind of self-reflecting, by exploring my role in the situation, what's my part in this resentment? How have I added to this resentment? How, where have I been selfish or dishonest or self-seeking? And having the opportunity to communicate that resentment with especially people that I care about, is usually a step that is not necessarily talked about a lot in recovery. It's usually done, isolated aside. But, there is this part about resentments that we get an opportunity to humanize ourselves and to talk about what it is that I'm thinking and feeling and how maybe I've judged and how I've judged incorrectly and how I get to suspend that judgment and see things differently. And that part about forgiveness is sometimes a little bit more challenging for some of us. But I invite you to consider this, that sometimes we have expectations, and that, those expectations are in my mind and what I expect. And just because I expect them doesn't mean that I am going to get it the way that I want to. And as a matter of fact, like, people want to be mad at their parents or something like that, and I want you to, or I invite you in the last couple of minutes that we have together to consider this. Fill in the blank, especially when you have a resentment about the government, a friend, or so-and-so. Fill in the blank. So-and-so is not capable or does not have the traits and the characteristics that I imagined they would have. And when I think about that specifically, it's like, whoa, I'm the one who has that kind of expectation. And that person, because they may not have the characteristics, the traits, the capacity, the capability, even the desire to be who I expect them to be, then logically they are not responsible for my upset. Only I am responsible for my upset. And when I recognize that I am responsible for my upset, it makes it a little bit easier to let go. It makes it a little bit easier to let go. Because they're not who I imagined or expected or perceived them to be. But it's all in my perception. Whether I perceive them to be saints or sinners, it's all in my perception. And then I can let them go. I have a friend who repeats this often. If I have a problem with you, I'm still the one with the problem. you know, if I have a problem with you, I'm still the one with the problem. Jeanette Bronson, thank you, beloved, right? When you realize that your parents were growing up too, dot, 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 right? Like, yeah, like we're all growing. We're all walking each other home. And so, beloveds, it's important for us to take a look at resentments as weapons of mass distraction in our lives and begin to set ourselves free from these resentments, talking them out, and recognizing that these resentments are actually keeping us from living our best life. So that's it for our show today. I want to remind each and every one of you that I do I do gratitude lists on our phone number, 562-928-6460. I want to thank Vida Spiritual Learning Center, which is our learning center, which is our producer of the show, for the ability to be able to do this today. And I also want to invite you on June the 3rd from 1 to 3 to our new offices in Huntington Beach. Hit up our website so you can check it out and join us in our spiritual community as we together help one another to grow and unfold, just like our parents. Until next week, know that you are loved. Bye for now.